Team Junkyard Dog here today, and we are getting for Seattle. That's right, we only have, how long, Carter?
2 weeks.
2 weeks to get ready for Seattle, and we have done very little. Now, I'm thinking 8 robots for Seattle. I gotta get 8 full robots. That's gonna be 3 BigGs. That's gonna be 2 Rougarous, and that's gonna be 3 Gumbos, because we got Gumbo into Seattle as well. And we're gonna get all these built and ready to go, so it makes our turnaround time that much quicker, because they're doing all the beetles and the ants all on Saturday. So it's gonna be a very, very busy day. Now today we're concentrating on BigG. What we're doing is we're actually trimming the cans of our motors down. Our weapon motors are 29mm, and so the clamp from FingerTech is 28, so we just shave a millimeter off the can to make it fit. And it's just like the little cooling fin, so we're not really actually getting into the can itself. We also have to trim our bolts. The weapon pulleys on the weapon bar keep snapping off inside the bars because it just hits that hard. So what I did is I went to McMaster Tar and I ordered these right here, hardened bolts. These are grade 8. I'm hoping that these don't snap off, but they're just a little bit too long, so we're going to cut those off. And we're going to continue to do some other prep work, like get our gearboxes ready. We just ordered, I think, 6 new gearboxes, 4 new gearboxes, and we got to pull all the screws out, Loctite them, put them all back in, and we got to cut the shafts off, so those are ready to go as well. And as you can hear in the background, we're also cutting some more side plates out for BigG. And then when we get all that done, in our next video, we're actually going to fully assemble a BigG so we can test out all of our parts and make sure that our ESCs can handle these very fast motors. We're trying to get up to about 40,000 RPM with our weapon bar and be able to do that for 3 minutes. So without any further delay, let's get to it. So right now we have Carter. What's up, Carter? Say hi to everyone. This is the driver of BigG, in case you don't know. BigGs are one of our 3-pounders. And I ran the CNC and I didn't quite cut all the way through because I didn't want it to pop out, because I didn't add tabs to this. And so what Carter's doing is he's trimming off that excess plastic, getting rid of all that oddball stuff that we don't need. Here's the other 2 BigGs right here. You can see that we're going to be running a 1050 or an 1100 battery. Palm Beach Bots is about to put out it's a 1050 mAh battery, and it fits in here so much better than this one. So that is going to be our battery we're going to be trying to run. We also need to get the other motor cut down. And look at these BigG parts. We have ESCs, we have ESCs. Here's that new battery by Palm Power. This thing is awesome. And we're also going to try one of these, the Castle Talon 60. This is like our secret weapon, just in case these cheapos don't work out. Where did I put the Castle? Gotta be in here somewhere. Oh, here it is. We're going to use this as our main for BigG, and we're going to use the others as backups, because we're running a very high kV motor. We're going to be running around 40,000 RPMs, and we want to be able to maintain that for 3 whole minutes. But what we're going to do next is I'm going to stick this in the lathe and go ahead and trim this down a little bit so it can actually fit in the motor clamp. Y'all remember him? That didn't hurt. He's coming back. Okay, so here's our motor. This is made by Tenshock. I'm going to keep the actual kV secret, but it's over 4,000. I'll tell you that. And then this is another one that we have. We haven't been able to run these before because our ESCs couldn't handle it. I didn't realize this was a 60 amp motor, and when I tried running it with a 30 amp or a 50 amp ESC, I just exploded it. What we need to do is, you can see how I took a grinder and I ground this one down so it would fit in a 28mm clamp. Well, I've decided not to be lazy and get out my little Harbor Freight mini lathe, and we're just going to shave a millimeter off this can real fast. I am no expert when it comes to running lathes. I'm not a machinist. I'm a mere hobbyist, and bought this machine just because I liked it, and I'm trying to figure it out. So don't be mean in the comments. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I just lock the motor in there. I don't want to crank it too much where I can actually bend the can. And I'm just going to fold these leads over towards the center. And I'm going to just spin it real fast to make sure it's pretty straight. Okay, that looks good. So now I'm going to bring my lathe in. All right, so let's go ahead. I really can't get a good angle for you to see this actually cutting, but I'll just show you the after result. Great. And you can see we got it shaved down. I didn't have to measure it because I know that once the fins are almost gone, that's the perfect size. So there it is. It should be ready for a weapon clamp. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna test fit it in this chassis right here. This is BigG number 2. If you're wondering how I label them 1 through 3, 1 is the one I like the most, 2nd is my second favorite, and 3rd is the one that I'm the most worried about. All right, so now this, as you can see with the fins, it won't fit. Now we can get a nice tight fit in there. As you can tell, it's a very tight fit, but it is not so tight that the clamp is not going to do its job. I would rather this be a little tighter to keep this motor from spinning in the chassis. And as you can tell, that is quite a nice fit. So that is done. We do have all 3 of these complete now. Now we're going to be working on these little bolts right here. You can see I already marked off where I got to cut. So I'm going to just cut these off. And I'm going to get Carter started on the motors. He's going to use the thread locker and get all of our gear motors ready to go. Okay, so Carter got these Loctited. I have verified them to make sure that they're properly torqued, and he did a great job. But now we have to cut the shafts, because you always want to do all of this work ahead of time. You want all your soldering done as much as possible. You want all your shafts cut, all your spare parts cut out, everything ready to go for competition. So if you have to change a part, it's just basically a swap of a part. You're not trying to cut stuff out and fabricate and all that madness. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mark these like this. Our next video is probably going to be something along the lines of doing wiring harnesses and electronics and show you all the insides. There you go. Now that we have these all marked, we're just going to take the angle grinder and cut them all off. One, two, three, four, ready to go. All right, so now it's time to do these little bolts right here. These are for the weapon pulley. Now when you're cutting something with a thread, you want to make sure that you put a nut on it. And then after you cut it, then you back the nut off, and if you mess the thread up at all, by taking that nut off is going to correct that thread and make the bolt usable again. So always put a nut on before cutting. Did you know that, Carter? Yeah. Still warm. Good thing I got nerve damage back in the 50s in the Korean War. Thread is still good. Alright, so here we have BigG's 3 beater bars. These are the 2 that we have been using. This is the primary one that we've been using. You can see it's kind of beat up, but still in great shape. We will clean this up a little bit. This is the one, it's only been in one battle against Peekaboo, and it didn't really take any damage, so it's good. And this is our brand new one from PCBWay. Thank you, Carter. It's not hardened yet, so I did actually buy like a little forge so we can harden it ourselves along with the gumbo bars. And this is the first bar of these bars that I've ordered that actually showed up balanced, which is kind of cool. I don't have to do anything to balance it, it's ready to go. But we're going to be getting all 3 of these ready. So what I'm going to do is we're going to put the pulleys on these now, and we're just going to use these little hardened bolts. I don't bother with the Darlin flanges because when you crank down on them, they tend to warp and all that stuff. So, and with my robot being made out of HDPE, I just basically put a big washer on this side, and the bolts kind of glide on that washer right here to keep it off the chassis. So let's go ahead and get these set up. We still have to do, after we get these 3 big G's built, we still got to build a couple of Rougarous, 3 of those too. But it's not going to be, I have 3 different versions of Rougarou. I have Rougarou Heavy, which runs the 1-pound weapon assembly. Then I have the medium Rougarou, which runs a slightly lighter weapon assembly. And then, you guessed it, also have a Rougarou Light, which runs a much lighter version. But what I do is, with the Rougarous, is as I shift the weight from the weapon, it goes into basically the armor package or the chassis. So like Rougarou Light has a really light bar, but it's a thick aluminum 70-75 chassis. Whenever I run Rougarou Heavy, he has a 1-pound weapon assembly, but he has to run carbon fiber chassis. So I'm prepping 2 Rougarou Heavies for Seattle. I'm going to bring 2 Rougarou Heavies and a Rougarou Medium to Seattle. I don't know if I'm going to bring the light version or not. Let's get this other one on. I will have to do the 3rd one as well, but I have to harden this one first. These already have the new bearings pressed in. We do add additional grease to the bearings. If you're spinning these bars at 30,000-40,000 RPMs, you want as much lube as you can get. I did finally switch from red Loctite to blue. I've been using red Loctite. I hope I don't regret that. Alright, and there you go. 2 beater bars ready for their chassis. And there you have it. That's our little, what is this, Monday? Tuesday? Our Tuesday, with about 2 weeks left before Seattle. And sooner than that, we have April 28th. We're going to be in Tampa. And then we're also going to be in Tampa on May, what is it, 27th? Was it the end of May? At the end of May. The Amrock Center up there is putting on one at a, some kind of con. I'm not sure what the con is, but we're going to be there for that. So if you guys have any questions, of course, drop them down below. Leave us a like, subscribe if you like content about combat robotics and RC stuff as well. And let us know what you think. We're Team Junkyard Dog, and we're out.